Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. So as you guys can see, for today's video I wanted to take you guys through my bookshelves and show you guys all of the unread books that I have on my bookshelf. Now I think last year I had around 260, I think it was between 260 and 270. I have definitely added a lot of books on my shelf since then, and I've also been reading a lot this year, which you guys would have seen if you watched my mid-year reading wrap up. If you missed it, I'll leave it down below for you. I just wanted to see the difference basically from last year to this year. I don't know how many I will end up having, so I will write my total on the screen. I have a feeling it is going to be more than last year's one. I'm hoping that as we go through year by year that the number that I add to my TBR and the number that is unread goes down rather than increasing. I have also been collecting books literally for so long. Like, I've always been a reader my whole life, so I'm very interested to see how we get on. So without further ado, let's go and have a look and look at all of my unread books. I thought we'd start off with the books that I'm currently reading. So I actually finished a book last night, so I'm not actually currently reading a fiction book. These are the 3 library books that I have got out at the moment. For my Christian non-fiction read, I'm currently reading Teach Me to Feel by Courtney Reesig. Oh, I don't even know if you guys can tell. Can you guys see that I've got like the tiniest little bit left at the end? It looks like I've finished it, but I haven't. I've got like 3 chapters left. So now let's move on to the bookshelves. Please ignore the shoes that are down here. They're currently shoes that I'm selling, but this is all of our like classics, non-fiction and memoirs, and there's also cookbooks down the bottom, but we're just going to ignore that for this video. In terms of the classics, I don't really read classics. I want to get into classics, but these are the ones that we've currently got. However, I don't know what ones I want to read yet, so I'm still kind of deciding in terms of the classics. I've read some of the stories in this book, but I haven't fully ever read it through. Moving down into the non-fiction, my bookshelves are combined with my husband as well, so some books I'm gonna like completely skip over in this video because they are my husband's. So any books that are facing like this with the pages facing out, like things like this, are books that I have read and I haven't altered them depending on what my husband's books are. My first book on this shelf is Ask Elizabeth by Elizabeth Berkley, Love Me Not, How to Keep Relationships Safe by Leslie Elliott, She's on the Money by Victoria Devine, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, that's like a productivity book, Bringing Down the House by Ben Mesrich. I may or may not read Stephen King on writing, I'm not quite sure. In fact, I think even this needs to come down into our memoirs shelf, but there's like no room down in our memoirs shelf at the moment. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, 1001 Little Beauty Miracles by Esme Floyd. Moving down to the memoirs, we'll start with the book at the back. I don't know if you guys can see. The Long Road from a Broken Heart by Jeremy Scott. That's like about a cyclist. We have Ed Sheeran, A Visual Journey by Ed Sheeran and Philip Buter. Marcus Butler, Hello Life. Brittany, Inside the Dream by Steve Dennis. Miracle in the Andes by Nando Parado. Madeline by Kate McCann. My James by Ralph Bolger. Elizabeth Smart with Chris Stewart. My Story, I think that's by Elizabeth herself. Love Tanya by Tanya Burr. One More Croissant for the Road by Felicity Cloak. A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. Lion by Saru Brearley. 127 Hours by Aaron Ralston. Girl Boss by Sophie Amoruso. Adrift by Tammy Oldham Ashcroft. And C.S. Lewis, A Biography by A.N. Wilson. So I've got quite a lot of work to do on this shelf. I feel like I definitely don't reach for books on this bookshelf as much as the other 2 though. Alright, next up we have our romance and dystopian shelf. I do apologize if you can hear my washing in the machine in the background. So we'll start off with these books up the top here. So these books are kind of like display books because I really like the spines of them, but most of these here are actually non-fiction. This Style book by Elizabeth Walker, this has like pictures and stuff in it. I don't actually know how much writing is in there, but I need to actually just go through it and have a wee look at it. But The Luxe Life by Fleur de Force, Insta Style by Tessa, Lauren Conrad's Beauty, Tanya's Christmas by Tanya Burr, and In Love with Paris by Anne Catherine Weber. Then moving over up here is like my little summary section. So these are like books that specifically either say summer in the title or give like very summer vibes. I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and then I have this one which is a new one that I just thrifted, which is Love and Gelato by Jenny Evans Welch, or Welsh, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Moving down, so this entire shelf here is romance. So I'll go with like the top rows first. Something Borrowed by Martina Riley, Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne, The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. How to Be Single by Liz Tasilio, I think that's how you pronounce it. Book Lover by Jennifer Kaufman and Karen Mack. And then I've got Me Before You and After You by Jojo Moyes. I think there is also one more book in this series, but I just want to read those two first and see what I think. The Boy Next Door by Josie Floyd and Emily Rees. Marriage for One by Ella Mays. Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman, and My Life Next Door by Fitzpatrick. Then we move down to the actual shelf. You will also notice throughout my bookshelves that I do have books missing, and that is because friends are currently borrowing them. So if there are any books that I haven't read that I can remember that I've lent out, I will also include that. And you will also notice that some books from my last video are no longer here, and that is because I didn't love the book, so I've either donated it or sold it. First 3 books in the selection series by Kiera Cass. So I have The Selection, The Elite, and The One, and then I have some Colleen Hoovers. So I don't actually have too many Colleen Hoovers to read that I've got, which is actually really nice because I thought I had more to read. Obviously I don't have her complete backlist, but we've got Without Merit, Reminders of Him, and Ugly Love. Then I have the next book in the Addicted series, which is Addicted for You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Then I have the rest of the books in the Magnolia Parks series. I've read the first one, my sister is currently borrowing it, but they're all written by Jessa Hastings. So we have Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks Along My Home, Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, and Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. I have The No Show by Beth O'Leary, and then I have the last 2 books in the Knock 'Em Out series. So I have Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Left Behind. Moving down to this next shelf, I feel like there's actually been a good mix of books that I've read and books that I haven't on both shelves, so that's great. So we've got The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Amaz, Loveless by Alice Oseman, This Time It's Real by Anne Liang, Book Lovers, People We Meet on Vacation, and Happy Place, all by Emily Henry. Then I have the last few books in the Dimmerly series, or the Did I Mention I Love You series, all written by Estelle Marsgame. This is a YA romance series. Did I Mention I Need You, Did I Mention I Miss You, and Just Don't Mention It, which is Tyler's story. Moving down, I have a lot of Nicholas Sparks books that I haven't read. See Me, 2 for 2, The Last Song, Dear John, Safe Haven, The Choice, The Rescue, The Guardian, and Message in a Bottle. Eleanor Oliphant Is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. And then the rest of the unread books are all by Sophie Kinsella. So I have some standalones and some series. So the standalones are Finding Aubrey, My Not So Perfect Life, and The Undomestic Goddess. And then the rest of the books are ones in the Shopaholic series: Mini Shopaholic, Shopaholic to the Stars, Shopaholic to the Rescue, Christmas Shopaholic, and Shopaholic Ties the Knot. Yeah, that again is all romance. This shelf from Generation 1 across, and from the Ark and the Giver across, like this way, are all dystopian and science fiction. So the romance ends at Jasper Vale and at these 2 books here. So we'll go through the romance. So I have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This one is part of a series. I think it's a duology, but I can't quite remember. 3 books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm pretty sure these 2 are part of the Hollywood series. But I have One True Loves, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Daisy Jones and the Six. We have The Perks of Being a Wallflower Are by Stephen Chbosky. I've read some of this, but then I DNF'd it because I wasn't loving it, but I do want to try and give it a second chance to try and read it. I'm just struggling because it's written as like a diary, and I think in my brain it doesn't work as well as like a standard story. 6 Days by Danny Atkin. Love at First Spite by Anna E. Collins. The Italian Marriage by Jenna Lo Bianco. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. One Day by David Nichols. And Better Than Chocolate by Sheila Roberts. And then I have the Eden series. I am missing the last 2 books because I ordered these on Amazon, so I want to get the Amazon covers to match these, so that is something I need to do. So the Edens series is written by Devney Perry, and we have Indigo Ridge, Juniper Hill, Garnet Flats, and Jasper Vale. Now we'll move into the science fiction and dystopian. So I have the prequel, I think it's the prequel series to I Am Number 4. So as of right now I just have these 2 books, but there is one more book in the series that I do want to get. So the prequel series and the I Am Number 4 series are written by Pittacus Law, Generation 1 and Fugitive 6. And then from I Am Number 4 all the way to United as One, this is the complete I Am Number 4 series. So we have I Am Number 4, Power of 6, The Rise of 9, The Fall of 5, The Revenge of 7, The Fate of 10, oh you can't even see, and United as One. Then I just have the last book in the Loop trilogy by Ben Oliver left. This is The Ark, The Giver by Lois Lowry, and then we have a couple of books that are like the start of series. So I have Wool, which is the first book in the Silo trilogy by Hugh Howey. I really want to get the other books in that series. And then we have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, and that is the first book in the Scholarmance series. And again, I do want to get the other books in that series. Moving down to this shelf under here, this again is all like science fiction and dystopian. So we'll start with the top for the ones that I will read. I don't know if I'm going to read this one yet. Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. We have The Swarm by Frank Schatzing. Oh, I've read The Fifth Wave actually. That needs to be the other way around. Hold on. There we go. That's a bit better. There's always one that I miss in every single video. And then we have the Dune series by Frank Herbert. And then moving down we have some more series. So this is like where my series live. Zoo by James Patterson is the only standalone, I believe. The Mortal Engines series by Philip Reeve. So we have Mortal Engines, Predator's Gold, Infernal Devices, and A Darkling Plane. The Lunar Chronicles, just the first 4 books in the series by Marissa Meyer. So I have Cinder, Cress, Scarlet, and Winter. These are all like fairy tale retellings. Then I have the first book in the Renegades trilogy. So this again is by Marissa Meyer. This one is actually a standalone as well. This is The Martian by Andy Weir. Then I have these books here in the Gone series. I am missing one in between Plague and Light called Fear, which has like a purple cover, so I'm currently trying to find that. So they're written by Michael Grant. So we have Gone, Hunger, Lies, Plague, and Light. I have the next 2 books in the Delirium trilogy. So my sister currently has the last book. So I'm yet to read Pandemonium and Requiem, which I will put a little picture on the screen of what that one looks like. Just got the 2 books in the Ready Player One duology. So we've got by Ernest Cline. So we've got Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. We will move on to this bookshelf here. So we have a mix of different genres on this bookshelf. So up the top here we have historical fiction, and then these 2 shelves here are mystery, these 2 shelves here are general fiction, and then the last 2 are horrors, and I don't read horror, so we're just going to completely skip those 2 shelves altogether. So up the top we have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, The Paris Library by Janet Skeeslian Charles, and The City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. Moving down we have the mystery shelf. So we have The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny, Fashion Victim by Sam Baker, Before You Knew My Name by Jacqueline Bublett, Nights. We have the first book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. This series is one that I want to just read the first book before I get the rest, just to see if I actually like it, because it is very different from what I've read before. Counterfeit by Kirsten Cheng and The Descendants by Kyrie Hart Hemmings. And then shelf 2 of mystery, we have One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus, Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is like a series that is like the spin-off of the Inheritance games. I've also got the first book in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is another like YA series that she's done. The Dry by Jane Harper, The Guest List by Lucy Foley, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and then I probably will read The Client by John Grisham. I do want to read some books by John Grisham, but I'm not sure what ones are like the good ones to read. I just know that he writes about lawyers and stuff, which if you don't know, I'm studying law at uni. And then moving down, we finally have the last 2 like general fiction shelves. So we have New Girl by Paige Harbison, Tomorrow, Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. There we go. I just turned Wonder the other way as well because I realized that I've also read Wonder. We have Just Between Friends by Rosie Nixon, What Would Mary Berry Do by Claire Sandy, Me, Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews, and Bunny by Mona Awad. Last but not least for these bookshelves, we have this shelf here of general fiction. So we have The Carrie Diaries and Sex and the City by Candace Bushnell. The Carrie Diaries is like a retelling of Sex and the City. 2 books by Jennifer Weiner. We have In Her Shoes, which I'm pretty sure is a movie with Cameron Diaz maybe, and then Best Friends Forever. Then I have My Sister's Keeper, which again is a movie by Judy Picoult. First 2 books in the Devil Wears Prada trilogy, which again, if I like those 2, I will get the last book. So we have The Devil Wears Prada and Chasing Harry Winston, But Trinkets by Kirsten Smith, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis, The Last Anniversary by Leanne Moriarty, A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman, and Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. We have also got a couple of display books under our coffee table, which the only 2 that I will read are Simply Spaced by Lead and The Joyful Home, which I don't know who writes that, but that's just one of those ones that I think that you can get at Kmart. Last but not least, we have these 2 bookshelves here. So these 2 bookshelves, as you can see, are very, very full. This bookshelf here up the top is all fantasy. This is all fantasy. This is all fantasy. This is all fantasy. And then we have fantasy up until here. Oh no, here. We have a cozy fantasy, paranormal fiction, psychological thriller, and then we move into thrillers across here. Up the top we have thrillers here, and then more fantasy up here. This one is a gothic fantasy, and then underneath here, again very, very full, is all thriller. On this shelf, this is all of our Christian non-fiction, C.S. Lewis, and Christian fiction as well. So we'll start with this bookshelf, I think, and finish with the Christian one. I have the first 4 books in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. So I have Guild, Gleam, Glint, and Glow. Then I have the Throne of Glass series. I am missing 2 books. I'm currently missing Queen of Shadows and Tower of Dawn, which I'm trying to thrift because I really want these old covers. Obviously the Throne of Glass series is written by Sarah J Maas. The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash. Again, 2 of my newest thrift finds up there. I think those books are part of a series, but I can't quite remember what the name of it is. I will write it on the screen. They're both by Chloe Gong, and I have Foul Lady Fortune and Foul Heart Huntsman. Fallen series, I think I am missing 1 book or 2 books, which are written by Lauren Kate. Fallen, Torment, Passion, and Rapture. Shadow and Bone is like the original trilogy, and Six of Crows is like the duology that you follow different characters but you're in the same world. So they are all written by Leigh Bardugo. So I've read the first book obviously in the Shadow and Bone series, but I've just got Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising left, and then I've also got Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So that is all for like the top that I will read. Next shelf again is all fantasy. This shelf here is a little bit smaller, so we're quite limited with what we can put on it, but out of these ones here, I will read Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I may read the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I am more of a Harry Potter girly, but I feel like a fake New Zealander if I don't read Lord of the Rings, because a lot of Lord of the Rings was filmed here. The Narnia series. So again, I don't have the whole Narnia series. We're missing the last 3 books, I think. These are written by C.S. Lewis. I'm sure most of you know. We've got The Magician's Nephew, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Oh yeah, so we're missing 2. The first and second book in the Beautiful Creatures series by Garcia Stoll. I think there's like 4 books in that series, but again, I want to read the first 2 before I commit to the rest. We've also got The Hobbit up here, which I read most of in school by J.R.R. Tolkien, so I think I would like to at least finish this. I should have just finished it, honestly. I think I had like a few chapters left. Like I just don't know why I didn't finish it. And then I also have The Serpent and Wings of the Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I actually have the first 3 books in the Red Queen series, so I do still need to read Red Queen. I haven't read it yet, obviously, but my sister is currently borrowing that. This series is obviously written by Victoria Aveyard. Then the second book is Glass Sword, and the third book is King's Cage. Then we have the Golden Compass series by Philip Pullman. So we have Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. Rachel Catherine has made me want to read the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I recently just finished, actually last night, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and really liked it. So we've only got book 1 in the Mistborn series at the moment. My husband also wants to read this. Then I have the first 8 books in the Vampire Diaries series written by L.J. Smith. There are 12 books in the series, so I do kind of want to collect all of them, and I'm collecting them with like these covers. I do wish this book was black, but the fact that it's like a dark blue, I'm like, I can deal with it. The Awakening and the Struggle, which is book 1 and 2. The Fury and the Reunion, which is books 3 and 4. And I've got Nightfall, book 5, Shadow Souls, book 6, Midnight, book 7, and Phantom, book 8. And then obviously coming across, I have got the rest of the Harry Potter series. So I'm halfway through it still. I really need to get into it, but Order of the Phoenix is really intimidating to me. I did want to listen to them on Spotify, but you do have to pay for them, and I've already got these books here, so I feel like I should just read them. So I've got Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and the Deathly Hallows, and then I've obviously got The Cursed Child as well, and they're all written by J.K. Rowling. Moving down, again, another complete fantasy shelf. Again, I'll do the books up the top first. Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. That again is the first book in a trilogy, which to be honest I probably will end up getting the next 2 books, because the covers, like, let me show you, the covers are just so pretty, like just so like fantastical that I really want to own them. Letters of Enchantment duology by Rebecca Ross, so that includes Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Tempest of Tea by this author, which I can't pronounce. Then we have The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, and we have the first book in the Raven cycle, which is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Moving down, I am really proud of myself for this shelf because I don't have much left to read on it. I am currently in the middle of the Mortal Instruments series, which are the rest of these books here, and then I've also got the Infernal Devices. They are written by Cassandra Clare. So in the Mortal Instruments, the books that I've got left are book 3, book 4, book 5, and book 6. So I've got City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. And then I've got the complete Infernal Devices, which is Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. I've just got the last book in the Twilight series, which is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Then I also have this one here, which is the Illustrated Guide by Stephanie Meyer, which kind of goes into like frequently asked questions. It's basically like a deep dive into how the world works with like pictures and stuff. So it's not quite fiction, but it's not quite non-fiction. It's like if fantasy had a section of non-fiction about the world that it is, that's what this book is. And then also I'm just going to do this because it's the same author, but I do also have The Host by Stephanie Meyer. Then we'll jump up the top again, so I'm just going to do these ones first because those ones are thrillers, so we'll get to those when we do thrillers. Queen of Hearts by Colleen Oakes, the Christopher Robin movie novel, And then I've got A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in that series as well. Then I've got Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Again, that is a gothic fantasy, and that is the first book. At the moment, I probably will just read Belladonna first, just to get a gauge of gothic fantasy, because I haven't really read any gothic fantasy before. Also got The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, which I know a lot of people really like that book. Then I've got the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick. I really need to get into this because I loved Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. It's one of my favorite books of all time, so hopefully I really like this. But I've got Hush Hush, Crescendo, Silence, and Finale. Then I've got the first book in the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black. Again, I do want to get the rest of the trilogy as well, and then there's also like a spin-off series which I do want to get as well. Left Hand Booksellers of London by Nyx. And then I've got the last book in the Imperium series. For as of right now, we are getting a new book in January, which is called Onks of Storm. I've literally been seeing it all over my Instagram feed, and it pops up on Google as well when I go on the internet. But yeah, I really want to read Iron Flame before that comes out. Then obviously we've got a cozy fantasy. So I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This one will be a trilogy, but for now we've just got the first 2 books out. I forgot to turn around the 7-Year Slip because I have actually read that as well. And then we obviously have the psychological thriller, so I'll do that first before we move up top. My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, Find Me by J.S. Munro, Dear Amy by Helen Callahan, Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty, Normal People by Sally Rooney, and 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I've got some thriller here and thriller up the top, so we'll go up the top first. The first 2 books in the Housemaid trilogy, I think that's what it's called, by Frida McFadden. So I've got The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret. The last book in the Every Breath trilogy. I read the first book, but I haven't read these last 2 books. Obviously I don't have the series, so I would like to get the complete series and read it. Third book is Every Move by Ali Marnie, and again that is a new one that I've just thrifted. We have some Book of the Month books that I bought on Facebook Marketplace. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and then 2 Taylor Adams books. So I've got The Last Word and No Exit. Last but not least, we have all of the thrillers. So we have The Girl in the Mirror by Rose Kalili, I think that's how you say it. Playing Dead by Julia Heberlin. Force of Nature by Jane Harper. Cousins by Karen M. McManus. Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus as well. First book in the Lying Game by Sarah Shepherd. Again, that is one that I want to read first before I buy the rest in the series. Summit Lake by Charlie Donnelly. We have Pretty Girl by J.C. Burke. And then the last 2 books I will read in this stack are probably the 2 Harlan Coben books here. So we have Tell No One and The Stranger. In this little stack here, I just want to read the 3 Gillian Flynn books. So we have Gone Girl, Dark Places, and Sharp Objects. Moving down here, I have the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I do also want to buy the little novella as well. Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. And then I've also got Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson, which is a standalone. We'll move down into this row here. So we have The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This one I have actually seen the movie for, same with this one here. The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, so I kind of already know what happens in them, but I feel like it'll be good reading it because it was like quite complicated to follow in the movie. Breathless by Amy McCulloch. We have 2 Lisa Jewell books, The Night She Disappeared and Then She Was Gone. I have the first 3 books in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, which again, I'll read these before getting the rest of the books. These are written by Stieg Larsson. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I do know I want to read this John Grisham book, which is The Associate, but yeah, I need to get some recommendations and do some research. A couple of books here by J.P. Delaney, so I've got The Perfect Wife and The Girl Before. Then I've got a Robin Harding book. Rachel is currently borrowing The Arrangement, which I have read and absolutely loved it, but I've just got The Party. 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty, as well as The Husband's Secret by her as well. And then the last 2 thriller books that I've got are both by Alex, is it Michaelides or Michaelides? I do not know, which are The Silent Patient and The Maidens. I really want to get to The Silent Patient this year because it just has great reviews, and I'm just keen to read it and see what the hype is about. And then last but not least, we have our little Christian shelf. So from this one here, I will read Experiencing God by Henry T. Blackaby and Claude V. King, Parables by John MacArthur, This Quiet Times for Couples by Wright. Phil and I will probably read together at some point. The Practice of Godliness by Bridges, Revelation by John Stott, God is Enough by Ray Galilei, The Passion of Jesus Christ by John Piper, and Knowing God by J.I. Packer. Moving down, one of these books here is mine and one of them is Phil's. This is Preparing for Marriage God's Way by Mac. We've started this, we just haven't finished it. Then we've got this one here, which is a new one that we got secondhand. This is Vertical Marriage by Dave and Ann Wilson, When Sinners Say I Do by Harvey, The Meaning of Marriage by Tim Keller, and then we've also got Fit to be Tied by Hybels. So potentially Phil and I will probably read those together. Then we've got two C.S. Lewis books. So Phil and I are currently reading Mere Christianity together. We're into book 3, Christian Behavior, Chapter 1, 3 Parts of Morality, page 69. We are really enjoying that book so far. And then we also have The Pilgrim's Regress. Now we are missing The Pilgrim's Progress in here because we've lent it out to somebody. I think it was Cara, but I can't quite remember who it was because we're constantly lending out books to people. Moving down here, we just have a few books down here. Brokenness, Surrender and Holiness by Nancy Lee DeMoss. And then the last books that I have that are unread on my shelf are these 3 books by Francine Rivers. So we have The Masterpiece, A Lineage of Grace, and Redeeming Love. This shelf has made a lot of progress, to be honest, and yeah, we've read quite a lot of books. So there we go, guys. Those are all of the unread books that I have on my shelf. So obviously quite a lot. I have been working through and reading a lot this year, so I'm hoping that that will continue throughout the years and then I can accumulate less and read more. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please make sure to turn on the notifications and check out my social media. It's always linked down below in the description box. If you guys want to watch more like book related videos, I have an entire playlist on my channel called Reading, so I will leave that playlist down below for you guys. Yeah, I think that's everything and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.